mother is from China, my grandfather's from Holland via Suriname, and they met in Guyana. That's where my mother was born, and yeah, so growing up in that organization, the whole idea behind it is, you know, sacrifice yourself in the service of others, which means that you don't make any money, but you get all your rewards in heaven. That's so. My parents said if they were going to retire, they need some rewards on earth, and so I was their retirement plan. And the pathway to that in the United States, at least, you know, in the 80s and 90s, was you got to go to a great school. And so that's really what my father, my mother's life plan was for me: go to Harvard, do extremely well, become a lawyer, a doctor, or, you know, I mean, it was even like a stretch to be a trader or a consultant, or a lawyer, doctor, for sure. And then I'd have enough money to take care of them when they got older. Yeah, that was the idea.
So as early as possible.
Right.
And then you went to Harvard and you studied government studies in Harvard, and then you moved from that into music while at Harvard, right? So
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your transition from government studies to music as an artist?
Well,
or producer?
it's actually more of a transition from pre-med to government, because pre-med, I mean, I think as just someone that wants to live the best life that you can live, you have to do what makes you excited, right? So for me, I got to Harvard, I went to all of the labs and with all the pre-med stuff, and I saw kids that were really excited about that. And I looked in the mirror and said, I'm not excited about this the way they are, right? And I knew it was music. My parents are musicians, so I knew it was music. And for me, it was more about the courage to be able to tell my dad that I wanted to do music, because as a parent, they wanted to protect me from the personal and financial risks of deciding, like, hey, I want to be a star. He said, okay, yeah, sure, everybody wants to be a star. You know, good luck, you know. But that's not why we sent you to Harvard, you know. And yeah, so it wasn't really a transition from like government to music. It was like I picked government because as a government concentrator, I could take classes at the Kennedy School.
Okay.
And I only have to go to class once a semester. So I'd free up a lot of time for music.
So because you were the retirement plan, so you needed.
Yeah.
Okay, and then after becoming a musician, you started finding a problem, and that kind of led you into your startup, Superphone. Do you want to talk us a little bit about the problem that you found with, you know, being a musician or a music producer, and that led you into Superphone?
Sure. So I think everyone who has a great idea wants to have that idea discovered, right? You want as many people as possible to know about your idea. That's how your company becomes successful. That's how your album becomes successful. That's how your project, fundraiser, charity, anything becomes successful. People actually have to know about it, right? And the internet began to disrupt the way that people found out about any project that folks were working on. And for me, when I first got my start, I got my start because when I got to New York City, someone introduced me to Puffy. Puffy managed me from 03 to 05, and then I started to notice that shift in the distribution barriers, right? So if you think about like Michael Jackson, and you think about how ubiquitous his music was and how many records he could sell globally, it was directly correlated to the fact that the distribution channels and the way you could discover a new artist were really just the big box distribution channels, right? So I remember Michael Jackson could like change television programming in the United States. Like when he was putting a video out, like it was an event. It was like, the Michael Jackson video is coming on tonight. Your regularly scheduled television program has been postponed because Michael Jackson has something to say visually and creatively. I started to see that the challenge of, I mean, honestly, could that even happen on American TV today? It's very, very unlikely, right? Hey,
Trump won, so that kind of happened.
yeah, there are many, and I would say also, again, that's definitely a function of the way that social media, no pun intended, trumps traditional media, right? So I would say that for me, I started to notice that shift, and I started to notice that the playing field is equalized because of the internet and because of technology and because of platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. And at the time when I was interested in telling my story, it was MySpace. And so between myself and my partner, Rashid Richmond, we took control of the MySpace keyword. So in the early stages, and I would say about 10 years ago, you could game the Google algorithm with an extensive network of backlinks. And so that means that anyone that searched a specific keyword, if no one else was bidding for that keyword, you could actually own real estate on the homepage of the Google search results for that keyword. So if it was digital camera, you could own 2 through 10 or 1 through 10 organic Google search results, not ads, but organic Google search results for the keyword digital camera. Our keyword was MySpace. So MySpace.com was organically the #1 Google search result. And then we actually own 2 through 10 organic search results. And so basically what we realized is that we could control the MySpace music charts based on that hack, if you will. And so we needed more artists because we only had me, my buddy, and we needed more artists because we said, oh, well, we control 9 out of the 10 homepage results. We need more people so we can see if we can really shake something up. And so I looked around and I saw my girl and say, well, do you want to have a MySpace profile? I said, well, what's MySpace? I said, well, why don't you try it? And we put her, we added her to the mix, and what we found is that people really liked her profile more than they liked mine or my friends, because she was like, if you saw her picture in the MySpace music charts, everyone wanted to click on that picture, right? Girls and guys. Well, who is this? Wow, she's, And then we had songs on all the profiles, but Me and You was an incredible song. And because of that, for like 3 months, until Google changed its algorithm, because they realized that people were gaming it, she went from 0 to 650,000 MySpace friends. And that was a great run. It was a great run. Puffy outbid everybody for the project. And she was the first artist to go from online to offline. Really like the first internet pop star, if you will, like pre-Justin Bieber, right? She kind of laid the blueprint, and that project laid the blueprint for, all of the big internet pop stars that followed. But what we noticed is that when you build an audience on a social platform that you don't own, when everyone migrates away from that social platform, you lose the equity in that platform. So, how many of you guys are entrepreneurs? You have startup ideas, right? Great. Okay. Of the folks that are entrepreneurs of startup ideas, how many of you guys are using paid Facebook advertising to get people to know about what you're doing, if you have money for that, right? And then how many of you are using free social channels to raise awareness of your startup? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you have a profile, etc., right? So what we found is that breaking a music artist is kind of correlated to building a startup, building awareness for a startup. You need some early adopters, you need some evangelists, you need, if you can have some content marketing, right, that gets people aware of your product, then that's great. And the difference, though, between being a startup and being a musician, and where I would say that startups actually have the advantage is once you own the customer, once you convert a customer, you own them. And in music, when we convert a customer, Apple owns the customer, or Amazon owns our customer, or Google Play owns our customer, because whoever owns the customer data owns the customer, right? And whoever owns the customer data owns the communicative relationship with the customer, the direct line of communication. So I could send someone to iTunes, or I could send someone to Amazon to buy my music, and then Amazon is retargeting them. Oh, you like Ryan Leslie type music. Here's 6 other artists. Here's a TV you can stream his videos on. Here's a mobile device you can listen to his music on. Here's a Prime Music subscription, so you don't have to pay for his albums anymore. I was like, well, what are you doing, Amazon, right? And so this is happening, and in speaking to the gatekeepers of the music industry, they also realized that when they made their deal with Apple, they realized that they had given themselves a real disadvantage because, once again, Apple owned the customer relationship. So if you are interested in getting people to know about what you're working on and why it's valuable, social, because it's free, is a platform that you should use. And then I think the reason why a Salesforce exists, or Constant Contact, or MailChimp, or Vertical Response, or whatever email program you use, it's very possible that they miss what you post on Facebook. It's very possible that they miss what you post on Instagram. It's very possible that they don't see your tweets because they're following other tweeters who are maybe more interesting, more sensational, more, entertaining, if you will. And so for me, when we watched all of Cassie's MySpace friends become completely disengaged, I started to think about this concept that I would like to have a phone number or a messaging handle on every single person that is interested in supporting what I'm doing, because that means that if social media, I mean, we saw it happen just now with Vine. Vine just closed down, right? So what happened to all those people? Millions of Vine followers. Where are those followers? Hopefully they migrated them to another platform. So I built Superphone to be able to have that direct one-on-one relationship with everyone who is interested in supporting me. So the simple concept behind it is everyone has a fan club. Everyone has a fan club. Your fan club starts to scale when strangers become your fans, but your fan club today is family, friends, investors, mentors, advisors. And you may actually have fans that you're connected with on LinkedIn. You may have fans that you're connected with on Facebook, etc. The thesis behind Superphone is that you should have a phone number on every single one of your fans. Email is cool. LinkedIn, InMail is cool. A messaging ID, whether it's Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, or a phone number, is infinitely more powerful. That's our thesis. And so we needed to build a way to have some intelligence on your phone number that gives you the ability to manage, filter, segment, prioritize the relationships and the conversations you're having, because those conversations are going to be the channels that lead to the impact that you want to have.
And basically, if I remember last time I saw you speaking, you actually built the first platform on your own.
Yes.
And you studied government, and then you worked in music, but then you went and built a tech platform on your own. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Because like a lot of the entrepreneurs here, especially in the region, we didn't have a lot of technical backgrounds or official technical studies, but most of the people here have built their own platforms. So love to hear your story on that.
Yeah, Code Academy. That's my story. I initially decided that I wanted to give my phone number out, and so being a musician, and having some money, what's up, Hunter? Being a musician and having some money, I wanted to just pay for a service, right? I mean, hey, I have money, there has to be something out there I can just pay for, right? So I looked for it, I had my interns looking for, hey, I want to be able to get my phone number out, find me a good solution. And the best they could come up with was Google Voice. I said, okay, let's try that, Google Voice, try it out. And people were texting, and I was running into major challenges with that ecosystem. Number one, Google Voice, no API. So if I sent a response, that was the response. So if Hunter sent me a text, hey Ryan, I'm a huge fan, and I sent the response, thanks for reaching out, I hope you get my album. Then if he were to text back in, Ryan, I just got your album, it would respond, thanks for reaching out, hope you get my album. So that really was that was a challenge in terms of having a.
Now we got Hunter as a response guy.
Yeah, right. And the number two challenge that I had with Google Voice is that I have fans all over the world, and so fans would text me from Paris, London, Switzerland, Sweden, Korea, Australia. And even though I would respond, because at the very beginning I was just responding to everyone manually. Thank you so much, because I couldn't set the auto response. The auto response was terrible, right? So I was responding to everyone manually, and then realizing that people were tweeting and putting on Facebook, oh yeah, I texted Ryan, he doesn't respond. And I was saying, no, I'm responding. And then I realized that Google Voice restricts you from responding internationally. So that was the second hurdle. Okay. And then the third hurdle is that all of this was synced to my Google Contacts. So I want everybody in my Google Contacts. I want every fan to be in my Google Contacts. And then we reached a quota, and the quota is 25,000. You can't have more than 25,000 contacts in your Google Contacts. So I realized, okay, this was a cool solution, but it's not the one for me. Now this was in 2013, so I looked around. We found some other sort of texting solutions. No texting solution actually solved for all three challenges. And one of my fans actually sent me a text and said, hey Ryan, I did a reverse lookup on your number. We know it's a Google Voice number. You can't even respond, so I'm just going to email you. And he made a suggestion that we build or try out Twilio. So Twilio just had its IPO. It's a cloud communications company. It gives you APIs for Messenger and SMS. And they've made deals with mobile carriers all over the world so that you can actually, your messages can get delivered all over the world as long as they have a deal with a mobile carrier in that region of the world. And so I went and spun up a Twilio number thinking it would be Google Voice. There was no UI. There was really no interface at all for me to send, receive messages, calls, etc. And so I had to build that first version myself. And yeah, it took some time, but yeah, it worked out.
All right, so you built the product initially for yourself, built it yourself for yourself, and then what made you decide that, let's go and make this a full company, let's hire a team, and let's get funding? What made you get to that decision?
All right, so Superphone right now, I just brought on a young kid on my team, and I took him out of venture, right? So he was a venture capitalist at KEC Ventures, and he came on the team, and he says, hey, Ryan, look, I think the time is good, I know a lot of people, we should go take all the VC meetings. And I said, well, all right, well, you come from venture, I'm gonna follow your lead. The kid's 23. I said, okay, cool. His name is Mike Faub. And I said, okay, I'll follow your lead. Let's go, let's go do all the meetings. But I need to let you know something. He said, well, what do you want to tell me? I said, well, my fundraising experience has been very atypical. He said, well, okay, well, can you explain a little bit? I said, well, most times when I present Superphone and I show my little demo, most times when I sit with a VC, the decision is made in the meeting. There is no follow-up, there is no due diligence, there is no, you got to meet some more partners. And he said, well, how did that work out? And I said, well, I think, it's almost like a domino effect. The first person that says yes, and I think for us at Superphone, we really got spoiled. So, number one, my phone number is publicly available to everyone, and an entrepreneur in residence at Andreessen Horowitz sent me a text. And I was actually looking to reach out to this guy. So I put on Twitter, yo, all my followers tell Tristan Walker to send me a text, right? So he sends me a text, he goes through the automation chain. He buys the album, he gets a thank you. He sends me a text, hey Ryan, whether this is you or whether this is some automation, I think it's really cool that in an age of disconnectivity, when I support a record that I don't really have to buy, because I can get anything I want on Spotify for $9 a month, right? When I support a record, I actually got a thank you text directly from the artist. I think that's cool, and I think you should meet my mentor and friend, Ben Horowitz. Being super naive to the startup game, I did not know who Ben Horowitz was. So I told Tristan, like, hey, I don't know when I have time to meet your friend and everything. I'm going on tour, and I'd love to meet your friend, but when I get back from tour. And he said, Ryan, look, let's do a call. We did a call. He said, look, Google this guy, right? And as soon as I got off tour, I went to the Valley. I sat down, and it was me, Tristan, my co-founder Nathan, Ben Horowitz, sitting in his office on Sand Hill Road, and I told him my story. I told him that I built this myself. I showed him, the MVP, which was a single tenant database for engineers, meaning it could only be used by one person. It was not a platform, right? Single tenant database use, version of this application, and he says, I'm in. And I said, oh, Tristan, what does he mean? He said, he says, I'm in. He says, look, Ryan, number one, I think this is too early for Andreessen, right? Because Andreessen is an institutional fund, right? I mean, we don't need to get into all of the Uber, Lyft, Skype, Airbnb, Dropbox, Job. I mean, billion-dollar companies, right?
Everybody knows them.
Yeah, it's too early. It's too early for Andreessen Horowitz. But I'd like to invest personally, and I think you should raise some money. And the reason why I like this is, one, I like founders that solve their own problem. Two, I'm really impressed that you coded this yourself. Three, this problem seems like it would be a problem for every person that's building a social following that feels disconnected from their audience. So you should productize this. I'll put the first $75K in, and you should go raise $500,000 or whatever. And anyone has any questions, tell them to just call me. So I said, okay, great. I don't, I have my own money. I initially told him no, actually. I initially told him no. And Tristan was like, Ryan, I don't think you understand the game that I'm bringing you into, but there's 90 Google engineers a week who submit business plans just to get a meeting with this guy, and you're gonna come in his office and say, oh, $75K, I got that, man. I don't need that, right? So it took me about a year before I actually took the investment, because I figured, okay, well, I really need to sort of wind down all of my music activities, because I was doing a lot of music activities. I had left my label, and I was running my entire career just straight off of text. And so I said, well, if I'm going to productize this and actually be a full-time founder, then I need to wind this down. I took 2014, I wound it down. 2015, we raised $750,000. And what are the different mobile phone carriers in the UAE right now?
We've got Du and Etisalat. I'm not sure if you get messages from them. Do you?
I know someone called me from a +971 number. Okay. So yeah. So I am getting inbound. I mean, I'm obviously very dependent on Twilio and its relationship with the carriers here, which is why we built a Facebook Messenger integration. So for folks that can't reach me on SMS, they can reach me on Facebook Messenger through my page, and it's still, very well organized. No, I mean, does this have HDMI or Apple TV or whatever? Yeah. HDMI? Do you have HDMI on your laptop, Los? Yeah? I have HDMI. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's see if we can plug in, and I'll show you guys what we're working on. No. And also, I mean, I would love to hear from you guys what the, number one, kind of like what you're building, and number two, what do you feel like your challenges are to getting from what your vision is and where you want your company to be, in the future. Does anyone want to tell? All right, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Vanessa from Brooklyn, New York, and I just got my MBA out here at Hult International Business School, and my startup is in the feminine hygiene industry. So I joined 1776 on their union platform, and when I got the email about you, and unfortunately I wasn't too familiar with everything, but when I saw the superphone, I said, okay, it relates to the app that I'm looking to build. My goal is to target women who are underrepresented and underserved in feminine hygiene. Where there are no products, there are no services. For us, I was one of those women. So when I saw that you said that you were able, I saw the video, to actually send personal messages to your fans and really connect with them, that's the part where I was like, well, how do I get the community of women together so that they can share, engage, feel safe, so that the Amazons of the world or everyone else that may know they have an issue with their period don't start flooding them, and that I can start off with a trustworthy social platform. That's what keeps me up every day. So I'm in the process now. I'm ground one. I'm only 4 weeks old, a benefit corp. And I just started my storyboard for the application. We're just starting social media and the website. And that's the part that I'm at with. Right. How do I communicate in the storyboard to the people who will eventually code? I need this to be a personal relationship, and I need it to be a safe haven so that we can build the trust, break through the taboos, and then eventually the products will sell themselves. Right. So I know you said it took you about a year before you said you coded it yourself. Right. How did you know, or what were the steps that you took to say, okay, no, I need some higher intelligence, like what you said, to give me exactly what I want because it doesn't exist right now? Yeah. Really, it's about having a super clear vision. So for me, I had a super extremely focused, very simple, concise, unencumbered, undistracted, straight on vision. I wanted my phone to do 3 things. Number one, every single person that texted me, I wanted to ask them who they were. So literally, that's all I coded at the beginning. One thing. Someone would text me, and I would say, hey, and I needed my phone number to be smart enough to know that you can only text me for the first time once. So I could figure out where I was in the conversation with every single person who texted me, because you can only text me for the first time once from any number. If you wanted to text me for the first time again, you'd have to change your number, because that number can only text me for the first time one time. So because I knew that they could only text me for the first time one time, I could tell software that if someone texts me for the first time, this is what you ask them. Who are you, right? Which is what you would ask anyone who texts you for the first time from an unknown number. Who are you, right? And that's the first thing I coded, was just this very simple thing that remembered. So if we go back to the analogy with Hunter, if he texts for the first time and says, hey, what's up, I got your text, who are you? If he texts back again, hey, this is Hunter, it wouldn't say, who are you?
because it would know that that's the second time he's texting, right? Because I know where I am in the conversation. So that was part one. Just ask everyone who they are. The second part of what I wanted my phone to do was, once I know who someone is, I would like to check and see if they bought anything from me. So that was a more sophisticated feature that I needed to build, and I needed to integrate with my e-commerce platform, and I needed to integrate with my e-commerce platform enough that it could trigger a message based on the commerce platform talking to my phone number. So step two was, if Yusuf sent me a text, then he filled it, he gave me his information, hey, this is Yusuf. I want to be able to check, hey, has a Yusuf ever bought anything from me before? And if not, I would like to recommend a product to him. So that was step two. So the thread would be like this. Hey, Ryan, what's up, man? Your phone number's on Twitter, man. You should probably take that down. Hey, who is this? Hey, this is Yusuf, man. I'm part of the startup community in Dubai. Then I would run a script to actually check in my store and see if anyone named Yusuf had ever bought my album before. If they hadn't, it would say, hey, Yusuf, I just checked my store. It looks like maybe you haven't heard about my album. Here's a link to it if you'd like to get it. Hit me back once you check it out. Let me know what you think. And then the third thing I wanted to do very simply was, when Yusuf goes to the store, actually buys something, I want to trigger a thank you. So say, yo, Yusuf, I saw you just got my album 5 minutes ago. Thank you so much. And guess what? You got me, I got you on text. Anytime I'm in your city, I'll just shoot you a text whenever I'm going to perform. That was it. Nothing more, no other bells and whistles, no pretty, user interface, no nothing. Literally app free. You don't even have to download an app. You just send me a text. That's my number. Send me a text. There's no app, there's no download, there's no pretty pictures, there's no colors, there's no font, there's no nothing. It's literally just straight conversation. He sends a text, I respond, yo, who are you? He says who he is. I check my store triggers a recommendation, he buys, my phone thanks him. So that's really how I was able to get from 0 to MVP very quickly, because I said, this is exactly what I want to do, and this is what it takes. This is the bare minimum that it takes to do that. And then that's how I started.